Quickly run through a quick color correction technique that I use on pictures. So this is one of my pictures from a recent wedding, and the first thing I'm going to say is I hate green! I hate bright greens in pictures. I hate them, I hate them, I hate them. For me, this is just, the green is overwhelming, and I'll quickly just show you, if I bring up my curves, here, this is what happens when you don't desaturate and the greens just go all horrible. Look. Ooh, oh, it's horrible, horrible, horrible. So first thing I would want to do is correct this color. Okay, so to do this, I'm going to bring up my hue saturation box under my colors. Let me drag this over here. I'm going to select the yellow box. This is going to change, even though it looks green, it's actually going to change all these leaves here because these are actually yellow, would you believe it or not? So I'm just going to bring that down to make it a nice autumnal red. Or kind of orange actually, I guess. And then I'm just going to bring that hue saturation down a tad as well. Now you can see here that the skin tone has now gone to look like some kind of rash, which isn't what we want. So we're going to copy this entire picture. So that's just taking this whole picture here. And when the little watch allows us to, we're going to undo that. Remember, we've still got that other picture on copy, and we're going to paste it back on top. This is just making a layer. Really, really nice and simple. Dun, 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 dun. Obviously, this takes a long time. There we go. So now when I zoom in, what I can do is I can see really, really clearly where has been affected. And obviously, I'm not going to give this to the bride and groom. I'm pretty sure she doesn't want to look like she's been badly sunburned and just terrible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my eraser tool. And at 100% opacity, and let's make this size a bit smaller. We'll go for about here for now. I'm just going to literally just click away all around where the colour's been affected. I'm going to get to the dress later because the dress is a bit trickier. So I'm just going to take out all the weird pink stuff here. There we go. I'll get to the hair as well later. Just the main bits and bobs. There we go. So dun, 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 dun. And don't worry if you go over a little bit because we're going to be kind of giving it an overall finish further on. So I'm just going to take out the main edges. That's what I really want to go for. Anything that's on the face where if they zoomed in they'd be like, ugh. There we go, just taking out that there, lovely. And these bits on the arms too. Let's have a zoom down, see how we're doing. That's not even, that's not even being affected. Right, okie dokie. So for the hair, I'm going to do the same thing, but with a lower opacity and a bigger brush. This just helps everything to blend in a little bit more. So you can see here, I'm just giving it a couple of clicks. And again around here. This is going to bring some of the green back in, but not to an extent where it's as bright. You're probably not going to be able to tell. So I'm just doing the same with the dress here. I'll zoom out so you can see a little bit better. And ignore this pavement for now because we're going to get that too. And there we go. So a nice big brush and a low opacity. And I'm just clicking my heart away until I feel like it's a good normal colour. And again, around the arms. It brings the green back in a little bit, but not so much that you want to rip your eyes out. There we go. So around any legs. There we go. And I'm pretty happy with that. I think that's quite okay. And then again, slightly higher opacity and even bigger brush. Ooh, we're going to go really, really big. There we go. Just for these sides here, and the pathway is the main one that I want to get. Lovely. Okay, and I'm pretty happy with that. So now when I zoom out, you can see here that it's an overall, it's starting to look better already. But again, I think they're slightly too yellowy now. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my lasso tool. I'm going to select this button here, which is 2 squares overlapped. That just means that when I make a selection around Dan's head, like that, and make a selection around Jen, basically I don't lose the other when I click off. There we go. So it just keeps them together. So then I'm going to go to select and feather. I'm going to feather it about 444. There we go. I like to work in numbers of 3. But 444 is good. Maybe actually that was a bit too much because that selection was quite small. So maybe 444 is not good. I'm going to try 222 instead. So what that does is that just kind of softens these edges and helps the colours blend a bit more. So I'm going to go back to my hue saturations and my yellow. I'm just going to take down that saturation a little bit like, oh, hello. Maybe I'm just going to take the whole saturation down instead, actually. There we go. So just until they start to look like zombies. That's probably the best way to do it. I'm going to bring back Jen in a little bit though, because Jen's gone a lot paler now. So again, copy, undo, and paste. There we go. So I'm just going to take my eraser tool and low opacity. I'm just going to bring Jen's colour back into her skin a little bit. Lovely, Jen. And I think Dan's pretty pale. Well, not pale, but the same kind of colour tone that I've made him now. There we go. So once I'm happy with that, I'm just going to take the overall hue saturation down smidge, keep it nice and cool, and go into my curves. And now what I can do is I can start adding the tones in. So I'm going to bring down the blacks a little and bring up my whites, and it's going to give this lovely, lovely autumnal feel. Very nice. Who would have thunk it? I'm just going to play around with my curves until I'm pretty happy. Let's go for something like that. And add in a quick vignette. And the way that I like to do that is I take my square select tool. I select like a frame shape. And then I invert that selection so that the frame here is selected. Select and feather. And this time we want a big number. So let's go 888 because it's a bigger selection. And we want it really feathery. And then bring down our colour curves around the edge, and that just brings in a nice little selection there. Lovely! And that would be all I would do for that colour correction. Fantastic. If I really wanted to, I could then go into my curves. Oh, hello. And just take my yellows and my blues if I wanted to kind of give something a bit more colourful. But I don't. I like this. I think that's nice and autumnal and much better than bright greens. Woohoo! Thanks, everyone!